And I am hoping that I'm clicking on the right link. Yep, there we go. Hey guys, thanks for joining. This is the Bitcoin Design Community Call. We are on community call number 47, if I remember correctly. And we're going to just be chatting very loosely today about the Bitcoin Design newsletter. We've got Yashraj here joining us. He's going to chat a little bit about the Payjoin case study, and we also have Dan as well, and he's also going to chat about Payjoin because we've got some nice stuff going on. So yeah, Stephen, if you've jumped on, feel free to drop an emoji so that I can invite you onto the stage. Yeah, let's pretty much kick it off. So yeah. Starting off, the first one on the newsletter is that we are slowly migrating the community over to Discord. We've added that link into the newsletter as well. The reason why we've done that is because we have a lot of our discussion history disappear on chat, on Slack. So we're moving that over to Discord so that we can keep our chat history. There's a link also in the Bitcoin Design newsletter about that as well. Next to that, we're organizing Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and we've got a couple students here from the Summer of Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure on this call right now. And the Global Accessibility Awareness Day initiative is going to be an initiative kicked off by the Bitcoin design community. And we're pretty much going to start to assess how we can bring more awareness to accessibility in these Lightning wallets. So yeah, that's pretty much the accessibility one. So if you'd like to join us on that initiative, it would be great. Stephen, let's see. Stephen's not here yet. I'm guessing he's going to jump on in a bit. I'll get Stephen to come back and talk about his. He gave recently a learning with Noster, learning Bitcoin and design call. But we've also had within the community design review where we looked at Jam. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. It's a web UI for Join Market. So yeah, that's a little bit of what's going on. Oh, nice. We've got Andrew here as well. I'll also invite him to the stage because the Bitcoin Beach wallet has gone through a... Hey, Andrew, nice to have you here, man.
Hello.
Yeah, so nice of you to join us. Yeah.
Took me a minute to track down the location in Nasser Nest, but excited to have it here.
Yeah, I'd love for you to chat a bit later on about the rebranding of Bitcoin Beach Wallet. I see you added that into the newsletter, so it'd be great to.
Of course, would be happy to. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll give a quick update. Still very much building out the UX research toolkit in public. Having a lot of fun with that. Learning as I'm going along. I've been creating some new content around how to visually communicate UX research insights to the team, and so that's something that I've been working on. Yeah, the next one in the newsletter is Bitcoin design. Yeah, we're going to have a booth at BTC Prague. Is anyone here in the audience heading over to BTC Prague? Feel free to raise your hand or drop an emoji. Anyone heading over to BTC Prague? Nope. All right. The community is going to be at BTC Prague. We're going to be setting up a booth, and we're also going to be organizing a room for Hack Day. It's going to be pretty fun. We're still in the organization process. We have a channel for this in the Bitcoin Design Discord community, where we'll eventually be chatting about the organization and what we'll be doing at Bitcoin Prague. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up. It's always fun. First time for me organizing a conference, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Also looking forward to going to Prague. Never been there before. But yeah, let's move on to the juicy stuff, which is the Bitcoin Design Guide. And this one really deserves a round of applause. I'm super happy that we have Yashraj here on the call, because he's just, him and Dan have really worked together really nicely and put together this Payjoins case study. So I'd really love for them to talk about it. So yeah, Dan and Yashraj, the stage is yours.
Thanks for the introduction, Mo.
Yeah. Uh, well, I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to talk about Payjoins, and I'm sure Dan is too. Anyway, I can jump right in.
Yeah, it would be cool to hear your history of it, starting maybe with the design challenge, how you got involved.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, uh, I I like heard about Payjoin when Steven and Dan they like did a working session on that, and that is how I got introduced to it. And I have to say, initially, I thought that this was like somebody was like going to pay me to join something. I was like expecting an airdrop or something, right? But no, like that is not what it was at all. So PayJoin turned out to be something much more interesting, right? So we did the design challenge and really like dug into what is BIPS 78, and I like had to read it several times to like understand what was going on, but it was super duper interesting. And I guess once we got done with the design challenge, like the opportunity to do the case study, like it it felt to me like it really emerged very naturally, and we like expanded the work from just the sender side and the sender flow for Payjoin, and like tried to do a more uh, holistic exploration.
Maybe we could start by explaining the design challenge, where Steven and I got together. I've been working on Bitcoin privacy for a long time, and Steven has always shown some interest. So Steven suggested we get on a, not exactly a community call, but we explore Payjoin. And there's some studies from that still, they're recordings in the resources part of the case study. But Stephen, I believe, felt that there was a piece missing, or we could do a design challenge where people took Payjoin for what it was and tried to create a flow for a merchant and a customer. So I think, like, before we get into that, we got to start with what Payjoin is, and Payjoin, why Payjoin came to be. So Payjoin is when a sender and a receiver, two parties, both interact to collaborate on a transaction, which gives people privacy. Why would that give people privacy? Because usually when, and this even goes back to the Bitcoin white paper, any inputs are assumed to come from the same person. And that's called a heuristic. It's a good assumption. And if we can break that heuristic, then we can break the chain of history if someone's trying to track what we're doing on chain. So we put up this design challenge to say Bob wants to buy an engagement ring for Alice without letting Alice figure out that he made an expensive purchase. And Alice already knows some insight into Bob's wallet. How can we do this using Payjoin? And Yashraj picked it up from there and turned it into the case study now, which details all sorts of the experience and the flow and how that fits into the ecosystem at large.
Yeah, Dan, actually just today, like I was thinking about like a really simplistic almost, but hopefully easy to understand way to like describe A joints, and it goes something like this, and you tell me if it if it makes sense. Like you or anybody in the audience, I'd be happy to know if this makes sense to you. So it turns out that sorry, that is not me. That is the rain here. Um, it turns out that chain analysis companies, they basically they basically track coins. And so when me as a sender, I'm trying to say, let's say, pay Dan, and I just take some of my coins and I give it to him, based on our based on a previous ownership tracking. uh, it, it is easy to identify that Yashraj paid Dan because I'm giving my coins to him, right? But what if, before we make the payment, we take some of his coins, some of my coins, and we sort of mix them, and then I make the payment, and then it becomes harder to identify what exactly happened in this transaction. And that gives privacy benefits. And of course there are other features of Payjoin that like give some other benefits, but I just thought like this, might be a really layman way to like describe what's going on.
Yeah, I really want to commend both of you because, I watched that final sprint happening where Yashraj was constantly making final tweaks he wanted to get it online. It was really a pleasure to watch you guys collaborate and work together. And Stephen was also involved in that, and we also have him here on this call. So thanks for jumping on, Stephen, and John's as well. Stephen was also one of the people who helped to get that online. So yeah, Stephen, thanks for joining the call as well. And I don't know if you want to chat a little bit about you did a session, learning Bitcoin session. Which one was that? About Noster. I don't know if you want to chat briefly about that one. That was learning Bitcoin and design session, which Stephen did on Noster.
Howdy. Is my audio actually coming through?
Yeah, I can hear
Does
you.
it sound like crap?
Can everyone else hear Stephen?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't sound like crap. Okay. Hey, congrats on again the case study live, everybody. Sorry I wasn't able to provide feedback for the last week or two. There, been a little bit busy, but glad to see that it's live. So it's awesome. Great work. Yeah, so I think I imagine we're probably just going down through kind of talking about the latest stuff in the community here in the newsletter. Yeah, so speaking of Nostr, we're on Nostr Nests. Yeah, kind of like how, sometimes do these learning Bitcoin and design calls. We talk about, uh, we just, it's a session to like take whatever people in the community are interested in learning about, usually technical things, trying to demystify them, stuff like that. So we did one last December for Payjoins, last week. Did one for Doster just because it's been kind of a frequent topic in the Bitcoin design community. So we just did kind of a call where we got jumped into Fig Jam and kind of compared like kind of the architecture of stuff like Twitter versus Mastodon versus Nostr, and kind of what makes Nostr's architecture a little bit unique compared to other platforms, and just what sorts of opportunities there are for designers to get involved in that. And that is on YouTube if you want to watch that. That's in the Bitcoin design community Substack newsletter.
Thanks, Stephen. We have John's here as well. Johns, do you want to say hi?
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, crystal clear.
Yep.
Nice, nice. Missing the Seaman here.
Yeah.
But doing a job, more, awesome work, awesome work. Yeah, I don't know. I've been a bit out of it. There's a lot to juggle right now. Things are so exciting in the Bitcoin space. There was this conference last week that I went to, and yeah, so I'm still kind of coming off of that at the moment.
What conference?
It was called the Lightning Summit. It's
it's the Italian one, right?
Yeah, the Italian one. It was super fantastic in Viaggio. The amount of pizza and pasta I've consumed, it's unbelievable. But
There's nothing better than good food, right?
I mean, it is Italy, you know. It is Italy. They do noodles very well. But yeah. We are also doing the final what do you call it? Scores and stuff for the Noster Hackathon as well. So that's taking up quite a bit of time also.
About damn time.
I think. Yeah, this is a difficult one actually because we didn't actually realize that. Well, we have almost as many entries as Legend of Lightning, and Legends of Lightning had like a 2 or 3 week judging process as well because we had to do like a semifinals. But we only realized after we're going through the projects, we're like, holy hell, this is a lot. So yeah, I know Steven, you're probably waiting to hear from that as well. You're participating, so soon.
I was just teasing you. I had a feeling. I had a feeling that it was a lot because I think I saw there was like 50 submissions on the site or 50 projects or something. So that's a lot. And I'm glad that instead of just adhering to like a 2 day time turnaround on the judging, that you're actually just extending it and taking the time to get it right. That way, everybody knows that their projects are actually being looked at. So I appreciate the extra time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like at these events, whether it's the designathon that we did, that the community did last December, October, November, or the hackathons and stuff. It's like people are putting in so much time in their work and stuff. I think it's only fair to give it a little bit of attention that it deserves for sure. But yeah, results soon.
Just checking what the next one here is in the newsletter. The savings wallet case study also received some updates. That was actually done by, how can I forget his name? He's been pretty active in the design community.
Shout out to Stain.
There we go, Yashraj. Yes, there we go. Yeah, he did some nice updates. Should have also invited him on this call. He did some updates to the savings wallet with the recovery scenarios and with the pin reminders as well. So big shout out to Stain as well for the work that he's done. And Christoph has put together a proposal because in the last Bitcoin design call we had some upcoming milestones. We wanted to kind of bucket stuff together. So we came up with two big buckets. The first big bucket being the savings wallet case study revision, and the second one being a site revision. So the first one would basically focus on everything around the savings wallet, such as Payjoin, managing multiple wallets, ordinals, also an interesting one that's been coming up. And then the site revision would be the second bucket. So we're kind of in the stage of deciding which one of those buckets we'd like to tackle first. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Quickly, I've done a write-up for visual communication for the UX research toolkit. That's a Google document, still very much building in public. And that's a Google document at this stage, which will be added to the UX research toolkit. So if you're wanting to contribute on that one, feel free, jump into the Google document, comment. I'm very open to feedback. We've got Dan's one coming up. So Whirlpool is the next one. They're doing some UX research. They did a post on Twitter, and they're looking for feedback. So you can pretty much click on that post and then provide them feedback. And next, I'll hand it over to Dan. Dan is doing some stuff with Payjoin.org. Do you want to chat a bit about that?
Yeah, so somewhat related to the case study, in the broader project for privacy, I launched Payjoin.org, which you can check out for a demo of how Payjoin works, how you get it integrated with your wallet, nice live Figma interactive piece, and I think most importantly, an explanation of the kind of privacy that you really get. So the cool thing about Payjoin is that it's different from mixing. It's different from using a equal amount CoinJoin, in that if only some people in the network use Payjoin, everyone gets privacy because all of the normal transactions have a potential to be Payjoin too. You can't tell them apart. So we got really good feedback from the community in terms of what's missing. Things like to-do list for how to integrate. Things like, okay, this is only linking to a Rust SDK. How do I bind this to my website or my mobile app? Really interesting developments on the FFI binding side from BDK. Those guys are great. And we even had Bull Bitcoin reach out. So they, this morning, said that they plan to launch receiving into their exchange, which is an awesome thing to be able to say.
Yeah, I got a question about Payjoins. So do you think, like I think of it as, primarily as an on-chain kind of privacy thing, but I'm also trying to think, if I have a Lightning wallet that a Lightning node and I'm trying to open a channel, do you think I'd be able to get the same privacy benefits over time if like every channel open that I do is a Payjoin?
I'm glad you brought it up because, yeah, of course, we can all make Lightning channels into a Payjoin. We just need a little bit of extra software, which you can find if you look up No Looking Bitcoin.
That's right.
There
I
is an
remember that
issue,
project you did.
however, with closing channels. When you close channels, at least in the version 1 closing spec, you need to do it with a very particular transaction structure. So to get more privacy with channel closings, we should all support the V2 channel spec and interactive transactions. I think there's some good work being done there, both in LND and C Lightning, and the LDK in their roadmap for the coming year.
Yeah, that's really cool because if you think about it, this is like one of those things that you could, if different Lightning node implementations like built-in, Payjoin support or like, some kind of plugin or whatever that would do it, then you could have an LSP that's got a lot of Bitcoin and then a bunch of mobile Lightning wallets connecting, and every single, the channels could just open in the background for the user without them really having to think about it. And the LSP could, put in put in some of their own inputs into the transaction, or the user could contribute to their inputs, so that that all the channel opens and all the channel closes would just be Payjoins. So I don't know, that could be really interesting.
And it pairs really well with Lightning too, because Lightning requires you to have, this is a little in the weeds, but Lightning requires you to have an anchor output that's not part of a channel on your node. So that node is always available for Payjoin. So if you put software that can Payjoin, like a plugin, on your LND node or as part of your node management software like LNBits, you should always be able to receive a Payjoin and send a Payjoin because you have a hot wallet and a server that's always running. So if you're trying to integrate Payjoin, if you want to improve your Bitcoin privacy, I'd love for you to check out the kit on payjoin.org and get back to me with any feedback of why it's maybe not right for you yet, because we can fix that.
I love that, Dan, that you're inviting user feedback right from the get-go. Absolutely love that. Being someone who really values user feedback, I love that you're already inviting it so early on in this stage of building.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a piece of advice from the community, from the document Christoph wrote for Building in Public and from the visual communication advice you're posting. So right now the roadmap is public on the website, and I'd really love not only the feedback, but collaboration from the greater community.
Love that. I see that we have the next one being the Bitcoin product community. And I'm just wondering, is there anyone here from the Bitcoin product community on the call? If you could just drop an emoji or raise your hand, I'm happy to invite you onto the stage to chat about it. Um, is there anyone here from the Bitcoin product community? No?
Well,
Good.
I'll say real quick just to spice it up a little bit. I'm doing a Bitcoin Product and Design Summit in Nashville at Bitcoin Park this upcoming Wednesday. You can just check out my Nostr profile and scroll back, and you'll find some stuff. But Andrew Yang, who's very involved in the product community, I think he might have been the one to kick it off. He will be attending that event, and we'll be speaking about the product community there.
Yeah, they've got a pretty active Discord channel where it's a pretty it's pretty much buzzing at the moment, and you can imagine a community with a lot of product managers is very well organized, and they're doing their research, they're doing their organizing events. I think there's a link in the newsletter to join that community, so feel free to hop in there if you're looking to find out what they're up to. They're having calls, they're having book meetings, learning meetings as well. So it's a pretty nice, interesting community to be part of. And next we have Johns, because we have Bolt Fun. Handing it over to you, Johns.
Well, I think I've said pretty much most about both fun there. Um, yeah, like I saw in the newsletter it said that the winners were announced. I think I forgot to update Christoph to say that they're not actually. But I don't know. You want me to just give you an update of like the rest of the stuff
Yeah,
that we're
feel free.
doing?
Go ahead.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that Stephen had this Nostr learning Nostr kind of thing session. The whole hype for the past couple months definitely has been put a lot on Nostr. And one of the things that one of the reasons why it interests me personally is because there is like a lot of space to do some really interesting interaction design and user flows using Nostr. So it kind of provides a way to do, and I'm gonna use this word, in band, well, fuck, no, yeah, I guess it's in band. Steven, is that correct? In band is like there's out of band, so it's like it's in band, right?
Well, I mean, I know what in-band and out-of-band mean for like a
Yeah,
protocol, but I guess I don't understand the context of what you're talking about. Or,
just communication within Bitcoin applications to other Bitcoin applications, so you don't have to use like another tool, basically.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, we say stuff like, in Lightning, if you send a two Lightning nodes are talking to each other, they're using the Lightning protocol to talk. But then if you share an invoice with somebody, you're going out of band. You're going outside the
yeah,
Lightning network, handing somebody an invoice. I think with Nostr, it's kind of interesting because I think a lot of people feel like it's kind of in band. It's not, because Nostr is another protocol. It's not Bitcoin. So in my opinion, it's out of band, but it's such a flexible protocol that it feels very native, and like similarly to, like, you have things like text messaging and like integrations on iOS that aren't always like easy to set up. There just may be certain things you can't do with an Apple product, but like with Nostr clients, you can build in a lot of the features you need. So it kind of feels like all the stuff we have a hard time doing on these proprietary systems are a little bit easier on Nostr. So, anyways, I don't know whether that's where you were going with that or not, but yeah, bands.
bands, yes. So Black Sabbath. Oh shit, no, sorry.
I was about to jump in on that, Johns. I was like about to say
oh,
that like, we are talking about bands in the band, out of the band. Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like Oster seems like a really cool name for a band as it is.
it's a good band. I don't know. I think Steven is the closest one to being a band member than any of, well, definitely not me. I am not in sync at all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
But yeah,
Nostr is a band that's like, Nostr is a band and everyone's in it, That's the awesome thing about
that's
it.
the band, and everyone's in it. And then you know what else can be in it? Payment requests, invoices, PSBTs. It can transport like a bunch of like cool things um, over the protocol, like the communication. So then you can really start to see like some interesting things that like interesting Bitcoin applications and or interesting ways to do collaborations and stuff on Bitcoin. So that's what kind of like interests me with it. And at some point, we're like, okay, well, finally we have this um, communication that we could do in the band in a Bitcoin app. Let's see what people come up with in a hackathon, and let's see what they can design and what kind of use cases they could come up with. So that's why we created the Noster hack. And yeah, so that's kind of like being a lot of the focus on Bolt Fun, from the Bolt Fun side. Yeah, for the past like I guess couple months now. Um, After this hackathon, we're definitely going to take a step back and think about our procedures and stuff a bit. And definitely going to have more hackathons, more events. Noster's probably going to play a part in it again. And design, I think this was the first time we actually had a whole track dedicated to design. So there was 24 million sats, and the same amount of sats was used on the design track. Um, we had 12 participants on there, the design track. I wish if there was more designers. I needed to kind of show up a bit more. I'm kind of rooting for you. So trying to set up these platforms for you. Since it's not common to be included in a lot of hackathons, I think it's not a obvious behavior for people or obvious opportunity for people to be able to have such a kind of space. So we're trying to do that in the Bolt Fund community, give designers a space.
And Johns, were there any projects in the? I'm sure all of the projects were equally as interesting, but were there any that kind of really surprised you with with the idea that the ideas that came that people came up with? Was there anything that really stood out or surprised you, or was new, interesting, very innovative, that kind of thing?
I think at this phase, like just utilizing the protocol in this kind of way, it's
Hmm.
like a lot of these things are very new and innovative in of themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Uh, yes, there was things that were very creative and very cool technically as well, and very useful. And that's about all I can say for now because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
haven't. I think I think we just published the semifinalists as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're in the process of doing um, the finals judges. So I think there's a list somewhere on Twitter or Noster, so people can see that.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Keep an eye out on that
soon,
one.
soon TM, soon TM.
Got it. Got it. Stephen, do you want to jump into the everything else section? I feel like I'm doing most of the talking here. If you have the newsletter open in front of you, I hope I'm not putting
Well,
you on the spot.
I've got the newsletter open. I guess we'll just go ahead and say for that other one, in addition to Bolt Fund, the Pleb Lab Stats X Hackathon winners were announced. I hear most of the projects involve Nostr some way. But hey, I just got to shell Atlanta real quick. My friend Alex from Atlanta and his friend Benny from Tampa, Florida, took the top prize. So we're super proud of them for claiming another win. They built Lightning Node profile, Nostr profile, so you can verify your node on Nostr. Um, Andy created some art mashing up Metallica album covers with Noster. Yeah, I can't really show that off on a Noster Nest, but it's kind of cool. It's in the art channel on the Bitcoin Design Slack if you want to see that. Um, what else we got going on here? Yeah, okay. This would be a juicy topic, that Skull of Satoshi thing. I don't know. Does anybody have any opinions on the Skull of Satoshi story? That was kind of interesting.
That sounds like a band cover. It looks like a band cover photo for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be a band name. Like, somebody should start like a Bitcoin metal band called Skull of Satoshi. But it was a cool
There you
story
go.
because I thought it was kind of interesting that it like started off like the artist who made it, like for anyone who isn't aware of this story, basically like Greenpeace launched this campaign and had this like piece of artwork that was the skull of Satoshi, and it's got these like nuclear power plants on top, and then so they launched this kind of campaign against Bitcoin, and then a bunch of Bitcoiners on Twitter like started engaging with the artist that was hired to like produce the work, and actually started this really productive conversation. And I think the reports that like, oh, we orange pilled the artist and he's a Bitcoiner. Okay, I think that was a little taking it too far, people, but at least from what I saw. But it was really cool because it was a productive conversation. The artist was kind of like, oh, cool. There's like this whole other side to this story that I didn't realize about, like, subsidizing renewable energy with miners and stabilizing the energy grid and using stranded energy. And so I thought it was a positive interaction. I thought that was really cool how that went down. And hey, that's the power of art and stuff, right? People get inspired to make it, and then people have all these opinions about it, and conversations happen.
That's a very interesting way you frame that. I've had um uh I haven't really understood art so much, and I think that's like I guess my stance has always been kind of like, like, is it productive, is there utility to it, etc. But that's very much what you said is a very good framing, because this conversation definitely needs to happen. And I really like how the artist is able to kind of like bridge those two sides and whatever. Hopefully, we get to convince the rest of the world about how, you know, like about our narrative with Bitcoin sustainability, because it's one that's not very understood, and it would be great to get other perspectives in on that side, on that side of the argument.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to keep us moving along here. So Christoph has been filing accessibility issues on Blue Wallet. I think he might have made some commits too, or am I just making that up in my head? But yeah, he's only been opening issues for Blue Wallet for accessibility problems. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, accessibility is just making sure that your software or your app, whatever, can be accessed in a variety of ways. Maybe by text to speech or Braille reader or whatever. But just making sure that that everybody can use the wallet. And sometimes there's things with websites and apps you have to do under the hood to make that happen. So it's cool. He's been opening issues. There's a Global Accessibility Day coming up. I'm not sure. I think we may have talked about that before I got on the call. Yeah, but so that kind of ties in with that. Austin Bitcoin Design Club had another session. They're doing like a monthly meetup. I'm kind of jealous of them. I kind of maybe want to do my own Bitcoin Design Club, but also pretty busy with Atlanta Bit Devs. But that's cool. They're doing a lot of critiques and stuff like that. I'll actually be joining them for their next one later in the month here. They'll at the end of the month. And I think we're going to be looking at actually one of the products I'm working on at Voltage. So I think we're supposed to be doing like a live critique where they rip apart my work in front of everybody.
Oh my goodness, exciting.
Yeah.
Always fun. A live Bitcoin design review call on your work. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. MIT Bitcoin Expo. That's coming up April 22nd through 23rd. Got some fond memories of that one. That was actually when I was first getting into Bitcoin design. That was my first ever Bitcoin hackathon, and me and Christoph won a prize there, and I believe Dan's team won a prize there also for their work on Payjoins. So that's really cool. They have a lot. They usually have a hackathon there at the expo, which you can participate in remotely. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know everyone might be all hacked out, but on the stage and the audience, anybody have any hackathon projects they might be looking for help with at the MIT Bitcoin Expo? Any ideas they might want to explore during that time?
If anyone's going to be in town, the Boston Bit Devs is also April 20th at Coinmetrics office leading up to the expo. So it's 2 days before.
Oh, dude, sick. Oh man, I didn't realize how soon this hackathon was. I mean, I guess I can't believe we're like already a quarter of the way through April. Man, I kind of want to, I kind of want to go just check out the Boston scene, but also I'm going to be in like Austin for their Bitcoin plus plus thing. But I might try and participate in this hackathon remotely. Trying to see if they have like a design prize. I'm looking on their website right now. They had not like a design prize, but they had like a UX prize one year. Uh, I'm trying to see, curious to see if they have that again. Oh, here it is. Okay, MIT Bitcoin Club Grand Prize. It's a $6,000 grand prize. Decentralized application. Track will win 4,000 split among team members. Hey, I don't personally think Nostr is decentralized, but hey, if you add enough relays, maybe Nostr is decentralized. So maybe somebody should go do a Nostr thing in the decentralized applications track. Track one, Bitcoin and Lightning and Taproot. Wow, that's a lot. 4,000 for that, and then build an app on ETH.id. Yeah, moving on. Okay, what do we got? Where's that newsletter tab? Canadian Bitcoin Conference coming up 17th, 18th of June. Oh, that sounds cool. I didn't know there was a Canadian Bitcoin conference.
Yeah, I mean, we exist, we exist.
I had no idea you existed.
Is that the one in Calgary? Is that the new one?
No, that's I think another one. The one in Calgary, I think it's called Bitcoin Rodeo. I'm not too sure about this one, but I think it's called Bitcoin Rodeo. And the one in Toronto, that's in June, and that's just called the Canadian Bitcoin Conference.
Nice, I'm looking at it now.
Mhm.
We've got Andrew here from Bitcoin Beach Wallet, and I've invited him over onto the stage. I'd love for you to chat more about the rebranding and what was the thought process around that. So I'll hand it over to Andrew.
Yes, what's up? Before I dive in, shout out Derek. Nostr Nest is looking awesome. Every time I log in, it's just like sharper, setting up your names getting faster and easier. Super cool. And shout out to the community for using Nostr Nest. So yeah, good to be here. Excited to share. Yeah, Bitcoin Beach Wallet is getting a new name and new features. So we are now we've changed the name to Blink. The inspiration behind that is long in the making. It's been a long time coming. Just for anybody, so I work at Galloway. We built open source Bitcoin banking infrastructure. The Bitcoin Beach Wallet was really the original proof of concept for the stack, and built in 2020, launched in 2021 prior to the Bitcoin law in El Salvador, for the purpose of helping build a circular economy in El Zonte and Bitcoin Beach. Um, and fast forward, a year later, 2 years later, there's there are a couple new communities every week popping up around the world, following in the footsteps of Bitcoin Beach, and many of them have been saying, "Hey, we want to use Bitcoin Beach Wallet, um, but it doesn't have X or it doesn't have Y. There's limitations for us." And many of those things. Well, one of them was launched about a week ago, which is any display currency. So if your mind thinks in Brazilian real or South African rand, we now have display currency, so you can see your balances or create invoices in your native currency. We've gone from 5 to 15 languages, so the translation community in Bitcoin is amazing. People are just picking up languages and adding them. And another piece of this was the name. So Bitcoin Beach Wallet is quite a long name. It's long to say, it's long to type. And BBW is not a great acronym. If you don't know why, you can Google it yourself. But historically, we've had, for instance, the website was bbw.sb, lightning addresses were pay.bbw.sb. Um, and so, you kind of get stuck saying, either, typing saying Bitcoin Beach Wallet or BBW, which people cringe at. And so it's been a long time coming. And we, a couple months ago, we landed on Blink. It's short. It is maybe the easiest word to type. Just try it if you're on a keyboard. Yeah, there's some fun reasoning behind the name. Well, first of all, there's a definition of it that's like a glimmer of light, which we really like, a brief flash of light, a twinkle or glimmer, which we kind of think is like the magic of lightning. It's like when that person receives their first lightning payment. But also, there was a post in the Bitcoin cryptography mailing list back in 2008 from James A. Donald, where he said, "Let us call a Bitcoin bank a bink." And we took inspiration from that because if you add lightning, you've got a blink, because it's not a bank, it's a blink. And so yeah, we've designed some new branding around that. Andre Stacks, who is part of the community, has done, I mean, really amazing work making, a sort of sleek new brand, which we're rolling out. But the entire sort of inspiration behind a lot of this is making the wallet more of an accessible wallet for anybody in the world, really, for Bitcoin communities everywhere. And we're starting to see it, in Uganda and Tanzania and Peru is one of the there's a community called Motiv in Peru, which is one of the most um, the largest sort of communities. It's a little bit more quiet. They kind of do their own thing, but they have thousands of people that are we're sort of building communities in 16 different locations, and they've been using Blink. And so, yeah, once you start saying Blink, you never really need to worry about saying BBW again. And we're still tying back to the roots, of Alzante and everything else. But really excited about this next step forward. And yeah, it's an open source wallet. It's a custodial Lightning wallet. So the goal is to be, the best first Lightning wallet. Is like incredibly easy for to get people on board to experience Lightning. And the other thing is making it simple for creating circular economies. So, of course, we've got Lightning address, but also there is a printable pay code, which is an LN URL pay code, which we make accessible for people that want to hang it at their shop. And we also have Mia White is also another community designer who's worked on a lot of the UX out in the open. You've probably seen it in the past, but she designed a Lightning cash register. So if you go to pay.blink.sv/your username, you now have a receive only app that your employees can save to their phone and like receive for your pizza shop and things like that. So the merchant features are pretty important because to create a circular economy, you need both merchants and users interacting together. So yeah, and since we're on Noster, I would be remiss not to mention that we've got Zaps enabled and NIP57 enabled, and we also have NIP05. It's kind of a manual process, but if anybody wants @blink SV for NIP05, holler at me and we'll get you set up. So thank you guys for the opportunity to share the news.
uh, quickly jumping in, Yashraj here. Andrew, I was excited to see your NPub because that looks like a vanity NPub, and I love that stuff.
I love this.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, Kemal on our team had a day, I don't know, a few months back where he was mining a bunch of the vanity. I see yours as well. Very cool. So yeah, the Blink actually has one. I don't think you can use B, but we have like a one and after the one we have a three, which makes it look like a B. So anyway, you can find Blink on Nostr as well. Yeah, the vanity MPubs are pretty fun. I actually had to get one because in the early, quote unquote, early days, like 5 months ago, I was dropping my private key into all different web apps, and I thought, you know what, it's better just to start fresh.
Excited for you guys, Andrew. Thanks so much for coming on the call as well and for just chatting a bit about Blink. Super easy to remember. So yeah, I wish you guys all the best with the rebranding as well.
Quick question, quick point. Go
Mhm.
ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Stephen. Go ahead.
So I always thought of like obviously Gloy has this banking infrastructure that's open source on GitHub, and then anyone could take that and build their own Bitcoin bank with it. So I guess I always thought of like Bitcoin Beach Wallet as being just like the local branding for like the El Zonte instance of that the Bitcoin bank, because then there's like Bitcoin Jungle and all that running their own instance. But I know you said you were like rolling out support for other currencies and all that. So I'm just curious, is the strategy changing? Like, is it not just for people in El Salvador anymore, or is Blink still just like refer to like that community's bank?
Yeah, good question. It's not just for people in El Salvador. It's also not for people in the U.S. But yeah, the so you mentioned Bitcoin Jungle. So Bitcoin Jungle has their own version. So you think of Bitcoin Beach Wallet originally as sort of like a reference implementation. Anybody can fork it, create their own wallet, which is what Bitcoin Jungle did. So if you've used that app, it's a little bit of like an earlier version of the wallet. Um, there is a team and a registered company, behind BBW.SB, Bitcoin Beach Wallet locally. But it really was like a necessity of the market, I would say, to say like, okay, there's people that want to use this app, and there are not yet um, communities being able to build their own wallets. Like you don't have a Lee Salmonen in every community around the world. And so right now to build on the Galway stack to build your own wallet, you need either Lee or you need some strong development chops, or you need funding. And so because it's an open source wallet, basically the strategy is still the same, which is make something awesome that companies, communities can fork and build on their own. But we're continuing to make it better. And in doing that, we're making it accessible to, yeah, the people in Brazil and South Africa and wherever else that kind of need it at this point in time. So, yeah.
Love that. I'm South African, so when you mention the word South Africa, I already take my hat off to you. I love that. I've invited
Um,
Derek onto the stage as well because he's over from Nostr Plebs and we've been talking a lot about Nostr. So, Derek, if you want to say hi, feel free to jump into the conversation. I've invited you onto the stage. So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for being here and using Nostr Nest. It was awesome to randomly see your nest here and you guys using the platform. It made me, brought a smile to my face. It's awesome to see people using it. So thank you again for hosting your nest here. But yeah, I was down in Costa Rica recently, and I got to see firsthand Lee's hard work with Bitcoin Jungle, Andrew, and seeing all the users down there using the Bitcoin Jungle wallet. And it was great to just be able to visit all of the different businesses, restaurants, bars, grocery stores, and pay in Bitcoin and just experience that Bitcoin circular economy firsthand. It was wild. I loved it. Next stop, El Salvador, and hit up Bitcoin Beach there and kind of see where it all began. I'm excited to do that next year.
Nice.
Steven, yeah, nice. I love this. It's Nostr. We've been talking so much about Nostr, and then we have Derek on the call who literally, if I understand correctly, you're the creator of Nostr Nest. So it's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. So for Nostr Nest, what we do is we use the open source software from Jam Systems, and we customized it. We customized some of the back end. We customized, completely redid the user interface, and then we implemented Nostr verification for your public key. Soon we'll have additional features that make it more of a Nostr client, where you'll be able to sign in with the NIP07 extension, and you'll be able to then zap people that are on stage, and then eventually we want to add text chats. So all this is slowly in the works. It will come, if you take a look at over the past 3 or 4 months how clients have started out small and slow, adding features, as they go, when time permits. And that's kind of the route we're taking here. So we have one piece of the puzzle done, and there's a few more that we're hoping to add here in the near future to make this a little bit more robust. But for now, you can go ahead and verify your public key at least, and set up your profile, and go ahead and chat away. Eventually, maybe, so it's a big maybe, there's a nip out there to add WebRTC over Noster. So the back end does use WebRTC, so that may be something in the future that we will look at. But that's like a very, very distant roadmap. That's like probably shouldn't even have mentioned it, but it's something that we talked about at some point. So once we get Zaps working, and once we get log in and chat, then maybe that'll be our next feature to try to tackle.
I was also, by the way, Derek, awesome work. I saw how you were presenting at Nostrica as well. I love the journey. Keep building. It's awesome. It's a good inspiration. I'd love to have a chat with you sometime as well. Because yeah, I just love how you kind of like just got into all of this, and yeah, it's an amazing story. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, my talk at Nostrica, still kind of humbling, still kind of wild that all this came about. Yeah, like I just randomly back in the middle of December said, hey, I know how to do a couple things for myself and my friends. Oh man, this turned into a real thing out of nowhere. Did not expect it to happen, but I love that it did. I love the journey. It's exciting, and gives me an outlet for all my passion with Noster and Bitcoin. And I just love the fact that we can do this, and we can turn Noster into anything that we really want it to be. It's great. But yeah, Johns, hit me up whenever. I'd love to chat.
Yeah, when full time with your projects, it'd be interesting.
Oh man, that if I would love to do that, but monetization needs to drastically increase, and then I can quit my day job. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I'd love for it to.
All right, keep going.
Well, we're kind of getting up on the hour here.
Yeah.
Maybe I just run through the opportunities real quick.
Go for it, Stephen.
Let everybody know just what's up. If you're looking to get involved in any projects or whatever, Christoph's looking for a React developer, help out with some accessibility stuff on Blue Wallet. So if you know React and want to help out with some small stuff, there's that. Damas looking for a design engineer. So if you go to the newsletter, there's a link to Will's note. Looks like it's a paid gig. So if you want to earn 420 Bitcoin per year, 4.20 Bitcoin per year, you can do that. I'm pretty sure that's what the number was. There's going to be Twitter Spaces tomorrow. I believe Steve Lee is going to be on that one. He's going to be talking about, being a PM with, Bitcoin Core and stuff like that. BOB Space. I think it's the Build on Bitcoin Space. I think it was Thailand. I think they've got a builder's residency program. So it's cool. A lot of these physical Bitcoin spaces popping up around the world. And then Mash, they do something with Lightning, but I can't remember what. But they're looking for help creating like 10 animations. So yeah, that's cool. A lot of stuff. If you're a designer looking to get involved in Bitcoin, you got a lot of opportunities right there you could follow up on.
Yeah. Thanks, Stephen, for speeding your way through the opportunities. Shall we wrap it up then?
Back to the design mine.
Sorry?
Oh, there's a phrase, back to the salt mine.
Back to the salt mine, tell me.
But at every job I've ever worked at, I always swap out salt for whatever my job is. So when I worked at the bookstore, it was, back to the book mine. When I worked at a soap factory, it was back to the soap mine. Now I'm a designer, so I got to go back to the design mine,
All right. Back to the design mine then for you.
Stephen, I'd like to say that your rebranding video last week was amazing. I absolutely loved it, thought it was hilarious, and watched it a couple different times. Fantastic job, and congrats on the rebrand.
I need to see that rebranding video. Please shoot over the link, Stephen. I missed it somehow.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. Over to you. Yeah, I mean, it was a community effort. It was a bunch of us in Atlanta worked on it all together. It was a bunch of people holding the camera at different times. It was a fun project.
Nice. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Isai, you've raised your hand. I'll invite you to the stage quickly. Do you want to just say something?
Yeah, I did. I heard someone mention Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, so if you guys are ever in Atlanta again, definitely. I don't know how to contact y'all. I guess maybe on DM or
Oh,
something. But I just joined the Bitcoin Design community Discord channel. So
so,
yeah,
oh,
I
Isaiah,
don't know.
you're in Atlanta, Isaiah?
Yeah. I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah,
From Atlanta.
yeah, dude. There's like Bitcoin stuff going on every week here. I'll message you and
Okay.
let you know what's up.
All right. Awesome.
Nice. Yeah. So big thank you for everyone for jumping on, and yeah, upwards and onwards to the next community call. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Yashraj. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Johns. You've jumped off. Derek. Thanks everyone for jumping on. Anything you want to say, Stephen, or anyone else?
Pura
Catch you
vida.
later. Have a good. Yeah, Pure Vino.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye, all.
Cheers, everyone. Bye bye.